Hey, Sandcar Buy Sell crew members, Conrad coming at you with a classified ad review for Monday, April 25th, 2022. We have a static photo up here in the background because the Boardmanville live cam is down. Unfortunately, I like to have that set up so we can see what's happening at the dunes before we do our classified ads or weather reports or anything like that, but it is what it is. So I'd like to thank Sandcar Buy Sell member Steve Loy for submitting this photo. I think it's absolutely fantastic where we got your buddy in the front doing a wheel stand, right? And he's all geeked. He's all set up. Clutch, gas, shifter, steering wheel. We know how this feels, right? Steve's got a really bitchin' mid-school, mid-engine sandrail with a Subaru 4-cylinder in it. It's an amazing car. We'd like to get a feature on this one shortly. So before we move on from that, I do want to make mention as far as features on YouTube is we currently have 181 YouTube subscribers. Thank you very much to everybody that is subscribed. If you would, please go over there and click that subscribe button and support us. And we're going to have more content coming soon. So I won't go on and on about that. Let's just jump into the classified ad review. Who do we have? Let's take a look. Beautiful car. All right, so this car is brought to you by Sandcar Buy Sell member Joe Gamma. He is asking $32,500 for this car. I always like to start out with the price because it lets me know if I'm in the ballpark of something that I can afford or something that I want to buy, and then it also helps me to understand if it's overpriced, underpriced, what kind of components it has on it as I'm going through the ad. So he's at $32,500. I'll just go through the description really quick here. It says it's a 2020 Predator long travel sand car. This really looks like a Prowler's Speed and Custom chassis, like a Sand Sprite 6 or something like that. So he doesn't state if it's a modified Prowler's or if this is a completely aftermarket. All he states is this is a Predator frame. So I would gather that this is probably a hand-built chassis that is modeled after the Prowler's Sand Sprite series, because the A-arms and the 5-link that's on here tells me so. So I'm not sure if that is actually a Prowler's or if this is a one-off, but otherwise it has that Prowler's look to it, the Sand Sprite. 2.5 Subaru supercharged engine, Mendeola sequential, 930 CVs, King shocks front and back, chase light, 5150 whip, Sector 7 lighted LED mirrors. Where are those? We'll see when we go through the photos. CNC hubs, light bar in front, Crow seat belts, PRP seats, Ron Davis. Car is absolutely beautiful, beautiful, bulletproof, 100% ready to dune, all the best parts money can buy. 32,500 trades, welcome cars, trucks, boats, Razor, Can-Am, RV, etc. So once we go through this review here and you decide, you know what, I have to have this car, if you got if you don't have the cash, right, and you got a car, truck, boat, any of that stuff, he'll trade you for it. So what a deal, right? And in here, all the best parts money can buy. As I did a preview on this before I did my recording, this is take like 8, by the way. It does have all the best parts. This is a fantastic build, and to me, this epitomizes what a sand car is all about, and that is big horsepower and light weight. That's how all of this stuff started. I mean, if we go back to the day when we first started doing this stuff, the guys were tearing bodies off of cars, right? We had a car frame, V8, automatic or stick shift with double paddles in the back. They weren't even actually paddles. They were just implement tires in the back. But the lighter, the more horsepower, the better, right? We've gotten away from that over the years. The cars have gotten bigger and bigger and heavier and heavier. And I'm not knocking those cars. It's just a different feel out in the dunes, right? So this, for me, is like the best of both worlds. You get the lightweight, big horsepower, and big suspension. So this car's going to handle like a slot car, and it's going to hit the whoop-de-doos at 100 miles an hour. So, Joe, this was a fantastic job on this build. I really like this car, and that was part of the reason why I chose this one for the classified ad review. So I'll stop geeking off about it, and I will tell you things I noticed. So right away, the front tires, we've got like a 15 by 8 inch front wheel on here. I mean, it could be a 15 by 6. I'm thinking it's a 15 by 8 with a big old Sand Tires Unlimited or an Extreme. No, that's an Extreme because the rib's on the inside. Extreme paddle or front sand tire. And the thing I like about this, having such a wide front wheel, is it gives you so much flotation. I think that that's one thing that people don't realize is we really need flotation out in the back. If you've got a smaller front tire, and especially in a mid-engine where all that weight is coming down on the front, and you've got a small front tire, this thing wants to dig. It wants to plow through the sand. So by putting the bigger tire with the wider wheel on the front, it gets that flotation back that we would be missing otherwise. So fantastic front setup. We've got our King shocks with piggyback reservoirs front and back. And you might be looking at that going, oh, well, where's all the bypasses and all of that stuff? Well, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't a big car, right? This is a lightweight car. And when you go this route, it's not necessary to have all of those super big fancy shocks, right? All you really need is a single coilover, and then you've got your piggyback on there for your adjustments. But this is a absolutely perfect setup for this design and this weight of this car. A-arms, 5-link, single shocks, it's bitchin'. Moving on, we've got a blower poking through here. So here's our PRP seats. We've got, what do you say, crow seat belts. It looks like there's a camlock style. We got our billet steering wheel hanger, steering shaft hanger, billet dash, some electronics under the front seat right here. Let's keep going. We've got, oh, here's the business end. This is, I don't have a build sheet on this one, unfortunately. I don't know what's inside the engine. But if you're putting a blower on top, you better have some internals that are going to hold that, right? Because you're putting some serious pressure into that engine. I can only imagine that this thing scoots. I'm really wondering what the weight of the car is and what the horsepower is as well. But this is definitely purpose built. I mean, if you take a look at the transmission hanger right here, and we've got our blower, and then we've got our intake. So this isn't something that was modified. The frame wasn't modified to fit this setup. It was purpose built that way. That's one of the things that I see when I'm looking at this is I'm going, yeah, this is a bitchin' machine. And the rear 3/4 view of the shot of that Mendiola. So we've got a Mendiola sequential in there. The dual tips is really awesome. Check out the cradle for the transmission. These round tubes at the back, that's absolutely beautiful. Nice shot of the front A-arms. Keep going. The front end of the business end, right? And we've got some beautiful pulleys. How power steering pump. Twin cam. I don't know everything there is to know about these Subarus, you guys. I just know they're fast and they're fun. You need a Subaru build, I know who to talk to. Beadlocks, front and rear. So we've got beadlocks as well. So you're not going to be throwing your tires. See, passenger side, pretty much the same. We've got the AJ speed shifter on the back of this. So this thing's going to shift really well also. Disc brakes, of course. 3/4 view. Let's keep moving through. So here's our rack. Not much really to say about that, I guess. Let's get some detail shots. Oh, look at the fuel filler. Here's something that's super awesome. You know, we go out and we buy these 8-gallon or 10-gallon round fuel cells and we throw them in there, and then the cap is usually way down here. And then when we go to fill it, it's a total pain in the butt, right? Because we got to run the filler hose all the way down there and we're trying to look in. So just doing this little extra right here of welding on this extended mount so that, or the extended filler. So the cap is right here, makes it so easy to fill up. And one of the things I really like about it too is this is a safety aspect of things. I'm trying to, let me see if I can get to another photo. Is this filler is just connected to the tank, right? I have heard of instances, just as an FYI to you folks, as you're building cars, that sometimes when you run a tab from a tube to the filler neck, when it's extended like this, especially if it has a rubber hose and you roll the car, sometimes that tab breaks the filler neck off and it blows fuel out all over the car, all over the exhaust, and you know what happens next. So just keep that in mind. These are things that I'm looking for when I'm looking at extended filler necks. Okay, moving on. Kings, here's our digital dash, billet steering wheel. Let's see, that AJ speed shifter. And let's see, the nice rack. Oh, here's your power steering setup, which, you know, here, Joe, this one, that's kind of overkill, right? Because this is such a lightweight car that you don't really need to run the power steering on this car, but it's just a little extra that you'll love it. You'll get in it and you just be like, oh yeah, like it, dude, it's going to be so fast and so easy to drive. Having that power steering on there is a definite benefit. And let's keep going. Here's that dual exhaust setup. I mean, this is just... Oh, so check this out. I do recommend that when you're going to be towing your car on your trailer, in your trailer, however you get it to the dunes, that you run the tire straps over the top, right? Instead of running straps up to the frame, because the car bounces. And as it bounces, it weakens the straps, or the straps fall off. So I do recommend tire straps. But guess what? Joe's got on his car these little hooks down here at the bottom of the suspension. So it's effectively doing the same thing. So you run your hook there, run your hook there, however you're going to tie it to your trailer, and you've got just that pressure pulling down on the tire. And then the suspension just works. The car just bounces as you're going down the highway. So there's another tip for you if you're building a car, but this is things that I look for on resale cars that are going to help me. And this tells me overall, I mean, the car's already fast. It already handles well, and then I can tie it down because somebody had the forethought to put some hooks on the car. You'd be surprised at how many get left off. Hooks get left off on builds. And moving on, here's this beautiful 5-link setup that we have. The custom carriers, looks like dual shear all the way through. Dual shear versus single shear. Dual shear means it has 2 tabs, and then the hind joint's going to go in between, and then it's going to pinch, right? So your suspension is going to be really stout on that. Here's the dual radiators down here below the seat. So you still have your visibility out the back. And if the radiator happens to blow out, it's going to blow out and puke all over the floor. It's not going to puke onto you, right? Because it's down, set, lower in the frame. Moving on, we've got another shot of the blower. Oh, the CNC pedals. Oh, and the power steering. So CNC angled pedal. We've got CNC dual master cylinders because this car's got disc brakes in the front as well. So again, just more stuff. It's just adding up. Dual master cylinders, and then your clutch pedal. This is a nice pedal assembly. And again, the dual pedals is telling me that, or the dual cylinders is telling me that the brakes are set up properly on this. Catch can. Another shot of a radiator. Oh, look at the battery located down here in the middle, keeping the weight low. Again, this thing's going to handle like it's on rails. Beautiful mounts for the radiator. Yeah, this is a nice setup. And front shot, piggybacks, A-arm, seats, rearview mirror. Did I not? You know what I didn't see? He says on here, hold on. Where did it go? Sector 7 lighted LED mirrors. Did I miss those mirrors? Because usually those are on the A-pillar. I don't know. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. Maybe he mounted them after the fact, after he shot all the photos. But all in all, I'm going to close this out. This is an absolutely amazing car. $32,500 turnkey. That's really what it comes down to. Is this is going to be a maintenance vehicle, right? You can get in it, go have a good time. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to change the motor. You don't have to change the transmission. You don't have to do anything to the car but go enjoy it. And our friend Gene Berg, who's deceased, rest his soul, used to have in his advertisements, he'd say, buy the best and cry once. And with this car, that's what you're doing. You're going to buy the best and you're going to cry because it's going to hurt to spend that much money on that car, but it's miles of smiles. That's what I see here. You don't have to change anything. This car would just really be a kick in the ass. So otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and mention to you, please, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got more and more content coming soon. I appreciate you watching. So I'm going to close this out. How do I close it? I say, thank you for watching. See you in the dunes.